What's up, breathing people? This is episode number 37 of Just Breathing with Laud Lungs, joined by my wife, Brittany. And hope you're all doing well this week. I know a lot of stuff is still going on in the world. I think it's always going to be going on in the world, though. So strap in, get ready for it, get your mind prepared, get your body prepared, get your life prepared. Stuff happens. Stuff happens. It is really sad to see what's going on still in Afghanistan. And I know we talked about that in the last podcast, so I don't want to I don't want to stick on that too much. But when we're recording this, a bombing had just happened in Kabul.
I didn't listen the past couple days, so
yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. Well, the saddest thing to me, and the part that I don't really understand, is I was listening to a podcast. It was with two Navy SEALs. I'm not sure what subject they were on or whatever, but one guy's like a congressman, and he was saying, like, in a briefing that he was just in, that they knew like some bombings were imminent. Like, and he was talking about ISIS, and he was saying ISIS is like, there's some threats of bombings within like 48 hours.
Oh,
and
boy.
I mean, it's been sooner than that, because it was just a day ago that I listened to this podcast.
Goodness.
So yeah, the bombings have already taken place. I didn't know ISIS was still a thing.
Yeah,
I thought, during the Trump era, we destroyed ISIS completely.
Or maybe they just went into hiding completely.
Well, and that's the thing. Do you ever destroy something completely?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was kind of the narrative when we went into Afghanistan the first time. Like, we've completely, Taliban has been destroyed. Obviously, that's not the case, because they're controlling Afghanistan right now. It's a weird one. It's a weird and complex one, and I think there's a lot smarter people than me to go into that stuff. But yeah.
That's sad.
It is sad. It is sad. And my heart goes out to everyone that's still there, that's still trapped. We're really not getting as many people out as quickly as should be getting out right now. And that saddens me. And there's just we talked about it before, but just the amount of Afghan citizens, translators, and all different kind of personnel that aided us, that are trying to get out too.
That's...
Oh, man. Yeah. My prayers are definitely with those people. I know there's special forces people that are there on the ground right now.
Yeah.
That kind of made their own way there to help.
Yeah. Which is amazing.
Yeah. So shout out to them and their bravery and their courage to go back into a war zone. I heard something that was very interesting, and I just wanted to know what you thought of this. So it's interesting because the narrative has been stop the endless wars.
Mm-hmm.
And, if anybody listened to the last podcast, like, I'm on board with that in theory, but I also am a realist. So, like, I understand the need to keep, like, some ground forces, some special force operations to, like, attack terrorist plants that are trying to grow. And someone was talking about this narrative and how, like, if you ask, like, the American people, like, do you want the troops to come home? They're obviously going to say yes. So yes, the polls did say most Americans were in favor of getting out of Afghanistan. Now, if you ask them a couple more questions, like, hey, what do you think of, like, keeping a contingent of our forces, like pulling back all combat personnel, which are like when a war is happening, pulling them out and keeping like a contingent there for special operations.
Right.
So that we can make sure 9/11 doesn't happen again.
Yes.
Americans will also say, oh yeah, that too. But a lot of times the follow-up questions aren't getting asked.
Right.
And one fact that I thought was interesting was that we haven't actually been in a all-out war for a long time in Afghanistan and Iraq. There's been some serious fighting with ISIS. When we had to kind of go back in there and kick some butt when they were coming through and taking Iraq back over. But like, there actually hasn't been a lot of like real open conflict and combat taking place. And like in Afghanistan, I think the last death that happened there was there was one person that died in a combat scenario in like 2020.
Wow.
And that's the last death that has taken place. Now, every death is horrific.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not going to go as far to say like we're saying with COVID, like even one death is too much, because like these are voluntary soldiers who go over there to protect us here and kill terrorists there.
Right.
I'm not going to say like, oh, that life was, shouldn't have been taken. Like, no, that guy gave his life, or girl gave their lives to defend their country.
And it should be honored.
And it should be honored. And me saying that kind of a statement, like, one life is too much, is kind of taking away from the thing that they're trying to do.
Instead, it should be like, let's honor this person for serving and being willing, to put themselves in danger.
Yeah. But it's interesting to me. I just wanted to know what you thought of it, because like, I didn't realize that we really weren't at war for a long time. We've been in kind of these special force situations where we're doing a lot of special operations in these countries, but we haven't been fighting a war for a long time in these countries.
Right.
And that just kind of stuck out to me.
Now you're saying these countries, like what do you mean?
Like Afghanistan.
Okay.
Like we haven't.
I mean, I don't know what the other ones are, so.
No, yeah, and that's a big part of this whole mess too. Is we're kind of relying on public polling to see what the American people wants.
Yeah.
When like I could promise you that a lot of people couldn't point to Afghanistan on a map.
Yeah. Well, I think the interesting thing to me. Well, first of all, what's your question? So like, what do I think about?
Yeah, I
that?
just thought it was interesting because like, did you kind of, and I've fallen prey to this, like thinking that we're still in like a war.
No, I didn't think we were still in a war, but that's just, I mean, I don't stay up to date as well as I should, but I thought we were, like, after Osama bin Laden was killed, I just kind of, like, I almost forgot about it, which is awful to say since there's Americans still over there, but then it just kind of seemed like a maintaining. So yeah, that is what I thought it was. So, and I am someone in favor of let's not let all of our troops be somewhere when they could be with their families. But I'm also, I am against just pulling out. Right. Like, I think we should, like we talked about last time, we should have a plan. But yeah, definitely keeping some forces in there just to help maintain things and help keep a check on these terrorist groups that will cause problems for that country, but also for other countries, including us. That's my thoughts on that. This whole situation is just so awful. I just hate it. I hate it. But
yeah.
And I think it's interesting. I didn't realize this until a couple days ago. That was the last time I listened to the news, but that we actually did have advice from people in the military. There was advice given,
right,
that this wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
So before I was kind of thinking how did this happen? But I guess it's just people weren't taking the advice of those who actually know what they're talking about, which is even more upsetting, actually. So it's not just ignorance; it was stupidity.
Yeah.
And it just,
yeah. And I work for the state, so I can kind of see and visualize how some of these things went down, honestly, because take, for example, the reporting coming out of Afghanistan that the Afghan army was kind of strong and prepared and ready to repel the Taliban forces, which were far less in number, which were far less in capabilities, far less in their equipment, things like that. I can see someone whose job it is to get funding for projects like building up the Afghan military, giving a good report.
Yeah, yeah.
And saying, hey, let's arm these troops more. Let's fund these troops more. They just need a little more training, but they're doing great. This is such a good project to invest America's tax dollars into.
Yeah.
Like I can see that happening because it happens all the time for state funded programs.
And it's like, it is a hard thing because I would agree with that. I think it's a good thing to train them and to equip them.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with that. But don't lie about it.
Well, I mean, the more people that you're helping, the more people that you're serving in anything that has funding.
Yeah.
The better it looks, the range of people involved in it like helps.
Yeah.
The people that are making the decisions and making the budgets.
Yeah.
And I can see that happening. And so those reports are what's getting pulled from when looking at foreign policy, when looking for foreign policy data to inform yourself on decisions that need to be made. And that's why you have, like in July, Biden being like, hey, guys, there's 300,000 Afghan troops.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah.
There's only 75,000 Taliban.
Yeah.
Come on. This is no problem.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine. And then 1 month later, all hell breaks loose. It's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get how that type of stuff happens. It's not good.
Even though there were advisors saying that still wasn't gonna work.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. There was definitely a failure, and there should be some type of consequence for the generals that were like, I don't know what happened. I couldn't tell that this was going to happen. When, like, I know veterans that could tell you that this was going to happen. And, like, the Navy SEALs that I was listening to on that one podcast, like, they were saying, we always knew that a withdrawal from Afghanistan was going to look like that. The problem is there was not this contingency for, okay, what if stuff starts to go down like that? How are we going to adjust? How are we going to, pivot?
Right.
And make sure that our people are protected as they're getting out, so that we have a smooth withdrawal for the people that need to be withdrawn. There wasn't any pivoting. There wasn't any decision making that seemed to be going on to aid in that process. There was just a lot of chaos, a lot of kind of shock and awe. And it's sad. It's sad to see because it's just a lack of leadership. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, did you see? I don't remember if I showed this to you or not, but like Jocko Willink put out a video. Did I show that to you? Oh man, it was so good, and he's such a solid dude. Like, he put out something that basically was like, if I was president, this would be my address to the nation, and like. It was just so cool to see because, like, he's an ex-Navy SEAL. He's had, I don't know how many deployments into the Middle East. I mean, he's seen the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Like, he was there in the surge and in Ramadi when, like, he's beaten back the worst terrorists, the worst combatants and stuff like that. And, yeah, it was just... And his like, address... to the nation was just so solid.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, this is my fault.
Yeah.
This is my fault. And like, here, I'll just play you a little bit just because it's so good. Let me see if I can do it.
I wanted to give you an update on the current situation in Afghanistan. As you know, we were set to leave Afghanistan this month, and as we began the final drawdown, I made some critical errors. Namely, I underestimated the strength of the Taliban, and I overestimated the strength and capability of the friendly Afghan forces. This was my fault. And due to my mistake, the Taliban has taken control of Afghanistan. There are reports now that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are working alongside them. Unfortunately, there are tens of thousands of Americans on the ground there, as well as friends and allies of America on the ground. And these people, Americans and our allies, are all stranded. And that is my fault.
That extreme
But
ownership.
they will not be stranded for long. In the next 48 hours, America will be in control of most major airports in Afghanistan.
And say, here's the difference, you know?
Yeah.
Any resistance we meet from the Taliban or otherwise when we seize these airports will be destroyed completely and without mercy.
Yeah. Yeah.
From those airports, we will conduct rapid strike rescue missions until we have recovered and evacuated all our citizens, allies, and friends.
Yeah. Wow.
Any person that interferes with these operations will be killed. We will also recover or destroy all aircraft, vehicles, weapons, and sensitive equipment that we left behind.
Yeah, this is a big one, right?
Any
Yeah.
person
We don't talk a lot about that.
utilizing, guarding, or located in close proximity to these weapons or equipment will be killed. Once we have evacuated all friendly personnel and recovered or destroyed the weapons and equipment left behind, we will depart Afghanistan.
Yeah.
But we will continue to monitor everything that happens in Afghanistan through our ground and airborne surveillance equipment. Terrorist training camps or activity will be targeted and destroyed.
Right. This like contingency plan.
Gross
Having that in
violations
place.
of human rights will be stopped through overwhelming force.
Yeah. You're like, yes.
And any group in Afghanistan
This just seems to
fighting
make
for freedom,
sense.
Yeah.
liberty, and basic human rights will be supported through special operations forces and ruthless precision air power.
Yeah.
We will continue that dedicated support until the enemy is no longer a threat to humanity or to the good people of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
May God bless America, and may God have mercy on the souls of our enemy, because we will not. That is all.
Jocko Willink, everybody. Jocko Willink.
That's
Go follow him on
amazing.
Instagram. You will be motivated. That is for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and this is a guy that doesn't talk politics.
Yeah.
He doesn't get into it. He'll talk with political people, and he'll talk about subjects that are maybe politically fiery or heated right now. But like, dude never takes sides.
Yeah, that's cool.
And all he's doing here, because he's a leadership guy.
Yeah.
He was a commander in the Navy SEALs, you know, when he was deployed in Iraq, and he was in Afghanistan before that too. But when he was deployed in Iraq, I think is when he became a commander.
Yeah.
And like his whole life is leadership.
Yeah.
So this isn't a knock on Biden. This is just like, because it's not just Biden. Let's get this clear. The people that should be held accountable are generals who have just flaked out.
I thought it was the generals, though, that did advise
No.
differently.
No.
Who was it that was advising differently? I can't remember who it was, but there were people advising.
I mean, there's been plenty of people that have advised differently and have been advising differently for a long time. But like, there was this arbitrary date of August 31st as being like the withdrawal deadline. And why we gave ourselves this arbitrary date, I don't know. Like, just
Well, that was
make it your mission to like start withdrawing from Afghanistan, but why we put this date on there?
I thought it was because
I don't understand. That
Did it-
doesn't seem militarily, smart.
Right.
I don't know.
I thought Trump had, or the previous president, President Trump, had like set a date or something in March.
He did.
And he actually made like, I don't know, an agreement with the Taliban, which I didn't even know you could do, but.
Yeah, there was like some, I don't know all the details in that. Like he did have an earlier date and he had some terms mapped out with the Taliban. So like we knew, like I said before, we knew the Taliban was coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we knew that they were going to take over again. And that's what's kind of mind-blowing in all this. If we knew this, what the heck happened leading up to this?
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of blame getting thrown back. I mean, this is what all presidents do.
Yeah.
Trump, throughout his entire presidency, was blaming Obama for everything that was wrong with the country. He wasn't wrong about everything, you know, and now Biden's blaming Trump for everything that's wrong in the country. And it's like, okay, like, be like Jocko Willink and say, hey guys, this chaotic situation that happened, it's my fault.
Yeah.
I'm taking responsibility for this. I'm taking ownership of this so that we can move forward.
Yeah.
And I'm going to develop a plan to get us out of here.
Yeah, that's what a leader does.
And
they take ownership and then they actually like have a plan.
Well, that's the difference
forward.
between a leader and a politician. Is like a politician has to give you the answer of least resistance or whatever you want to say. Like they have to give you the answer that has the least blowback on them.
Yeah.
Because somehow everybody's like such a representative of their party now. And like it should be a representative of like them. Like, and maybe that's our fault for not understanding our government structure that well. Like, so we don't know who's on the special operations committee in Congress. We don't know who's on the foreign policy committee. And like, that's who we should be like, yo, what happened?
Yeah.
How are you not informing the president of what's going on in like historically what has happened and what will happen again?
Right. Unless they were.
And that's, yes. But then you just don't know because
you don't know.
Probably these people are coming out and be like, we told Biden not to do this.
That's true too. And you don't know. Maybe,
we don't know who's lying. A lot of lies.
Probably
a lot
everyone.
of lies. Oh man, it's just sad. It's just sad. You know another thing that's sad. I got this YouTube comment. You know, every so often, you get a lot of porn bots that will comment on your videos. For anybody that's wanting to be a YouTuber or upload their podcasts or videos to YouTube, you get a lot of like just spam commenting on your videos, which is so annoying because like YouTube does clear a lot of those, but like sometimes you have to go in and report that this is like sexually explicit or, you know, pornographic related or something.
Yeah.
So stupid. And then sometimes you get these comments, like I got one recently, and it was so sad because this person, I don't think they were really referring to anything that was in the video. It sounded more like he was just reaching out because he was depressed.
Yeah.
And I tried to respond to him and just kind of, I told him I prayed for him and that he should pray.
Yeah.
And I told him Jesus loves him.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, Jesus does love you.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it hit me and it made me remember that like there is a world out there in this vast interwebs of like a lot of hurting people.
Oh yeah.
And like just this comment was just an expression of that to me, just to remind me that, you know, our conversations are so important, and making sure our conversations lead to like motivation and lead to some uplifting kind of answer to whatever we're talking about, whoever I'm talking to. Like, I want to shape the conversation so that it gets to a place where there's hope and where there's, you know, life and where there's like an understanding that, the world's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that I don't like and I'm going to speak out against and I'm going to this and that. But like, also, life can be beautiful.
Yes.
Life can be rich. Life can have so much happiness associated with it and intermingled with all of the struggle. And it was just a reminder of that for me today. Like getting that, it like hurt my heart.
Yeah.
You know, because I felt for the guy.
Right.
I think it's a guy. It looked like a guy's name.
Yeah.
There's no like pictures or
Right.
whatever. But yeah, I just got that today and I see that all the time on YouTube. It's amazing. There's a lot of people that just go in and like they just say the nastiest things, or they put a comment in there to like get a reaction out of you, or they dislike your video after watching it for 2 seconds or something. You know, just the stupidest things, and you're just like, man, there's so many hurting people in this world.
Yeah, I was thinking a couple days ago of how like, because I was talking with some friends about how sometimes people put on YouTube or Facebook or some social media like something to get a reaction.
Yeah.
Or they say something super personal that like gets a reaction because
Right.
you feel really bad for them, or you're like, oh wow. And I was just thinking about that then the next couple of days, and I was like, you know, we meet a lot of people face to face that like are probably really lonely or really angry, but we would never know because they don't have anyone close enough to them for them to actually speak. And like social media has become that, I think. Like people put things on there because they're so hurting and they're just hungry. Like they have a lot to say, but they don't have anyone to say it to. So they
Right.
just like put it on social media. And that is really sad. Like the people around us that we see in person that seem really quiet or to themselves, those people aren't just like quiet people. They probably have a lot to say.
Yeah.
They just don't have anyone to say it to, or anyone that they feel safe enough to say it to.
Yeah.
And
It's like, how do you become that person that, like, because there are people out there that I've just immediately, as they walk into the room, they just have this like aura about them of safety.
yeah, yes.
You know, they just have this presence, like literally as they walk into the room where you're like, you just are comfortable.
Yes.
And what do you think that's made up of?
Oh, I think that I might know.
Well,
Because
what is it made up of though?
So I desire to be this kind of person, but I think it's a couple of things. I think the first and most important is that they're super duper humble.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean that they care about people.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when
they're carrying in a lot of care for people.
Right. Because when you're a humble person, you're not thinking of yourself that much.
Right. Right.
So when people speak to you, you listen because you actually want to know what they have to say. Like
Yeah.
you're not just listening to be polite, like you're actually actively listening. And you're probably going to remember what they say too
yeah.
because you care. And so I think that has to do with it. And also they're very like, I don't know if this is the right descriptive word, but like solid people. Like they're not, or grounded maybe is a better word.
Secure, maybe?
Secure, yeah, secure and grounded.
Okay.
And they're not concerned about themselves. And let me explain that. Like they don't have anxiety going on about this situation, about what that person thinks about them or about what they have to do next. They're not super like stuck to their schedule. Like I have to get this and this and this done. I know all of this because I am the opposite of this person. So, but like, they're very just like, what needs to get done will get done.
Yeah.
And right now, this really important person's talking to me and I'm going to give them the time of day to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason they have to go, then they'll do that gracefully, but they're not going to rush out because they care about you. And there's like very few people that are like that, but I know a few. And I'm like, that is such an awesome person to be. Like, I want to be like that. And yeah, I think that's what makes it up. You're secure, you're humble, you're grounded. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes a really safe
I want to
person.
do things to like work on. I mean, all of those things would be great to embody that. But like, yeah, definitely. I think a lot of it stems from that security factor. Like when you're just, and I think it comes with age. and I
Yeah.
want to find the way to like in our world get there faster.
Yeah.
I want to find the shortcut.
Yeah.
And I think this is an okay shortcut
yeah.
to find a way to become secure in who you are and what you look like and how you just who you are. Because like I hear so many older people that are very successful and very like, but also are very good to people
Yeah.
around them. They're very, wealthy. They're very, they kind of have the world at their fingertips and everyone kind of clamoring to be with them and around them and all of this type of stuff. And they're just very generous, I think is the word I was looking for. And one common thing that I've heard in a lot of these people is that they just reached a point in their lives, and it usually was as they got older, where they would say, stopped giving an F.
Yeah.
You just stop caring what anyone says,
Yeah.
what anyone thinks of you, what anyone, writes about you, what anyone talks about you in the media. Like a great example of this is Dana White. Dana White is the CEO or head or I don't know, president of UFC.
Okay.
The MMA fighting organization. And like, I don't know what he's like personally,
Right.
but like in terms of a businessman, he is top notch.
Right.
And he's been able to, like, he was the only president of a sporting organization that continued the sport through COVID-19.
Oh, wow.
And he did it safely. Like they built the biggest bubble, kind of quarantine bubble for their athletes. And they were able to put on matches. Like they weren't able to have crowds for a long time, but like his fighters got paid, his staff got paid.
Wow, good for him.
He said they only shut down for 6 weeks as he like just figured out
how to
what to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people gave him a lot of crap for it.
Right,
a lot of people came after him and they were just like, "Oh, you can't do this. You're gonna spread the virus. You're gonna kill people. You're gonna yada yada yada." And he was like, "Oh, I don't give a crap.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand this. I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
You don't affect my life. You don't pay my staff.
Yeah.
You don't pay my fighters. You don't matter to me."
Yeah.
And like, you hear him talk like that, and you're kind of like, "Whoa, like this dude's serious."
At the same time, if I can just interrupt you, like when you initially hear that, you think it feels mean, right?
Yeah.
But actually, it's the total opposite.
Yeah.
Because he's saying, you're not going to ruin my employees' lives.
Right.
You're not going to ruin my fighters' lives.
Yeah.
Like, I care about them. They need to get paid too. They have families.
Yes.
And so that's what it says.
Right.
And like, I'm so tired of like people trying to get on other people when they're actually taking care of the people they're responsible for.
Right. Well, the people that are writing these things up, writing these articles or speaking this on the news and whatnot, like they're sitting comfortably in their telework environments. They're sitting on their couch in their PJs. They're, doing their news coverage from home during the lockdowns.
They're making money on making this bad comment about you.
They're still working. They're all still working.
Yeah.
And so, but it's hard. It's hard when you're hated and when you have all of this attention on you and all of this negative feedback. It's hard to be like, am I doing something wrong?
Right.
Am I wrong in my actions? Am I going to hurt people?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like you said, exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
I am going to lead. And leadership only ever kind of raises its head when things are hard.
Yes.
Like
then you see the
someone
good
is a
leaders.
good businessman until something hard happens, and then you find out if they're a leader or not. And there's a difference. Like every other sporting organization shut down.
Yeah. That's insane.
And there's a reason why UFC is making buttloads of money right now.
Yeah.
because they continued their viewership, because they're the only thing that's going on. Their viewership skyrocketed
Good for him.
during the pandemic and has just maintained
Right.
and only kept growing. I mean, I've never been into UFC until the pandemic.
Yeah.
And like all the other sports were just so political.
Right. I was just about to say
And they were
that.
so just, it was so gross. Like I stopped watching football.
I think a lot of people
I only
stopped
follow.
watching football.
Yeah, I mean, I only followed the Eagles anyway. I wasn't really into football in general, but like, my life's none the worse for lacking that in my life. And like, the Phillies are never going to do anything ever again, apparently. So I'm fine with just watching the minor league team close to my home.
Yeah.
Like I don't miss any other sporting thing. And UFC is more exciting.
Yeah.
I've discovered this new thing and it's great. It's awesome. And there's no politics. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So good. And
That's refreshing.
yeah, so just mad respect for that guy and just the security that he has in himself.
Yes.
Like he doesn't care. He doesn't dress up in like the finest things. Like he'll wear tailored suits and stuff to the UFC events, but like all the other times he wears like a polo shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
And like the dude's got millions.
Yeah.
Millions. And he's just so confident. He's so confident in who he is and the decisions he made. Like people will ask him, listened to him on a podcast recently, and he was like, the guy was like, do you regret like anything that you did, during the pandemic and stuff? And he's like, no. No.
Yeah.
Every decision I made was for other people.
Yeah.
He was like, I was ready to go broke. I was ready to give up my salary, give up, my bonus for the year to get these fighters paid,
Wow,
to get my
that's
staff paid.
So awesome.
And that's a leader.
Yeah.
That's a leader. So respect. And I just want to get to that point. I don't know how or where or what I'm supposed to do ultimately yet, but like even with this podcast, like I don't want to be afraid to say anything.
Right.
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to be controversial for controversy's sake.
Right.
I don't want to be partisan. I don't want to be what's the buzzword? A shill.
What
for
is
like
that?
That's like people that I think it's like you represent like some type of political party, like you. I don't know.
I don't know. I hadn't heard that. That's new to me.
Like you're like a sellout for like a political party.
Okay.
I think that's what it means.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a shill. But I don't want to be any of those things. But I
Yeah.
do want to debate ideas fiercely
Right.
because I want to get to the truth.
Yeah.
And I want to get past lies, and I want to get to the truth of everything. That's what excites me. That's what makes me want to keep doing this and keep having more and more conversations, is because that's how I function in this world.
Right.
I gotta know what's right. I don't need to know what you want me to know or what I'm supposed to know. I want to know what's the right answer.
Yeah.
So even in like the Afghanistan thing, like I've been gaining new information over the past, since the past conversation that we've
Yeah.
had. And I've even adjusted some of my thought process in regards to
Right.
it and surrounding the whole thing from people that know what they're talking
Yes.
about, from people that actually have been there and that have studied the history and that have studied the inner workings of all of this. It's just, that's how we should all be. Yeah. Yeah. So security, humility. And what was the other thing that you had said?
Security, humility, and like grounded.
Just being grounded as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grounded being that like not so strict to your schedule. Like you're not afraid, like you're just like, I'll get things done when they need to get done. So you're a little bit more flexible. You're
Right.
not just like on a mission to do what you want to do and nothing can get in your way,
Yeah.
which makes you rigid and not able to be open to people talking to you or caring about people,
Yeah.
having the time for people.
Yeah. One of the things that I heard It was Shaquille O'Neal. I listened to a podcast with Shaquille O'Neal. Do you know who that is?
A sports person. Goodness. I know that name. I just can't place it at the moment.
Oh my goodness. I love it.
I'm going to get laughed
I
at
love
when
it. I
people
need
listen
more
to
guys
this.
on this podcast.
Please tell me.
He's a legendary basketball player.
Okay. I was thinking basketball,
He's
but I
a
wasn't sure.
7 foot something, 300 pounds something monster of a basketball player.
I know that I used to know that.
But he's an incredible businessman. Like he's so good at kind of interjecting himself. He's in movies, he's in music, he does DJing, he does he's like CEO of a bunch of companies. He's kind of got his mitts in everything. And it's awesome. And one of the things, I don't remember his exact quote, but he basically was telling these guys that we're interviewing that are younger guys that are kind of entrepreneurs themselves. He was like, make yourself available for every opportunity. Don't kind of hyper focus on one thing and leave yourself and close yourself off from all of the other things that could come to you.
That's interesting.
And he's not saying jump at every opportunity. You can be smart about it, but leave yourself open to it.
Right.
Don't get so hyper focused on something that you're not looking at,
I see what
all
you're
of these
saying.
other opportunities that could come your way because of the thing that maybe you're doing excellently.
Right.
And I just thought that was good because I think I get that way sometimes where I'm like, all right, I think I want to do this and I want it to look like this, and because this person did it this way and I want it to happen like this and progress like this, and I'm not looking for how it could change.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for who can be included. I'm not looking for, opportunities outside of this. Maybe this isn't working. We kind of pivot and try this.
Right.
It was good. It was good advice because he's involved in so many different things and things that for example, I didn't realize that he was playing a basketball game. He told this story where I guess he had a line of his own shoes, O'Neal's through Reebok. And I guess one game a mother was yelling at him in the crowd as he was walking off the court, and she was like, how dare you make these shoes so expensive that my kids can't even buy these shoes, they're too expensive, all this type of stuff. And he was like, here's $2,000. And she's like, I don't want your money, just shame on you for making these expensive shoes that my kids can't afford, all this stuff. That day he canceled his contract with Reebok and said, I'll wear the shoes that we made together throughout the rest of the season. I'll honor my end of the deal.
Right.
But I'm done.
Yeah.
And then he went to Walmart and he made his own shoe line that were $19 and $29 Shaquille O'Neal shoes.
That's cool.
So, and it's cool because his way of looking at business was through the lens of kind of the sort of overarching paths for his life, which is he wants to help kids.
Yeah.
That's one of his main goals in life is always to be a model for kids. He says he's a real model. He's not a role model. Because he's I'm going to make mistakes in my life and I want you to learn from my mistakes.
Right.
Judge me and learn from them.
Yeah.
But understand that I'm going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be perfect.
Right.
I'm not going to be this perfection.
Don't look to me as a hero and then be upset when I
stumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. But so because of one of his focuses were kids, he was that day, he canceled his contract and then eventually went to Walmart and made this shoe line that kids can afford.
That's cool.
Because he was kids just want to look good. They want to wear shoes that look more than $20.
Yeah.
But they only can afford $20.
Yeah.
So let's give them something that looks like it costs more, but doesn't.
Yeah, that's
and like
cool.
it was such a cool idea and such an awesome mentality
Right.
for that. But
That is pretty cool.
yeah, Shaquille O'Neal,
I did.
basketball player.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I felt rushed. So talking about
felt
that.
rushed.
So like talking
I would
about
have had it in 10 minutes.
being that safe person, like I mean, I hope that I'm a safe person, but I don't have that aura because I'm not as secure as like I would like to be.
Yeah.
But like I'm someone who, like, you ask me a question or like anything feels like I'm getting shot and I need to respond immediately. And like I don't know why I'm like that, because I know a lot of people who, like, you know, they're very calm. Like I just want to be a calmer person, but I think that's actually part of being that safe person, which I am not yet. But like I don't know what that is. Like, how do you get to that point where you're just kind of like that relaxed person?
I think
like,
it's practice.
Yeah.
I think it takes practice.
Because like everything feels, it's like I don't know if it's something I learned when I was young
Right.
or I learned it as I grew, but like everything feels like I'm rushed. But it's not the person doing it to me. It's my own self.
Yeah.
I like feel rushed.
I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, some of our upbringing, like our education system, our, you know, parental upbringings, like there's a lot of factors that go into why we develop these why we lose imagination, why we lose sort of our ability to just kind of be free with who we are, our quirkiness, you know, our real personalities. Because like that has to come out when you're really being yourself.
Right.
Like your quirkiness is who you are. And like the most secure people
Are okay with that.
are okay with
Yeah.
that. And you love them for it
Right.
because you're actually, they're being real.
Right. Right.
They're not putting on a show. Like they're being themselves.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool. Like, and then it allows you to kind of, all right, I'll kind of
Right.
show a little of myself.
Right.
You know, like that's so good. And like, I would love, like, and just honestly struggle. Just life itself can exhaust and, you know, squash a
Right.
lot of your joy and a lot of the happiness and the well springs
Right.
where a lot of this quirkiness and this fun energy comes from. You know, life is hard. And it just beats you up. And yeah, you have to get over that too.
Right. Right.
So a lot of hurdles, you know, and the only way to get over the hurdle is practicing hurdles.
Right. Just practicing getting through.
Yeah, like you're in a situation where you're like, gosh, I really wish I could just do a cartwheel here.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying you got to be this person that does cartwheels everywhere. That doesn't mean you're quirky. That could be weird depending on the scenario. But like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
interesting how, like, just because we have young kids, it is interesting to watch, like, our kids and kids in general, like, just be so free. Like, they're just so like, chill
For
and
sure.
free and, like, happy. And I think that, I think it takes practice as well, but, like, I feel like you lose that sometimes when you become an adult, but I don't think you have to. Like, if
Right.
you can learn how to balance, like, once again, being that kind of like, I don't know, rooted person. What was the word I used before? I can't even remember. But that person who's just like, I have problems, but they're not gonna like destroy me right now.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. Like I can enjoy my life, and then when I need to deal with these things, like I'll deal with them. But like still, you can still enjoy your life.
Yep.
Whereas like I feel like as you become an adult, it's easy to just be I don't know, overwhelmed by those things, and that's all you focus on, and you're just like you're looking to have this perfect life that really isn't going to happen. So you really do have to learn how to just like enjoy your life and be thankful and grateful, and then just deal with what you need to deal with when it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think of you do think of people in other countries who have like nothing, and they're really happy people.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
they don't have all of
Big
they
old
don't,
smile on their face.
Yeah, they don't have a huge house and all these things, and they're they're happy. I mean, they have problems,
Sure.
but they're like grateful people, and you're like, okay, we're pretty spoiled. Like,
Yeah.
I think we can figure this out.
Right. There are problems. There are serious problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of their home lives are awful, but some of their home lives are great. Some of their home lives are way better than a lot of our home lives.
Right.
You know, that are so centered on ourselves. And, you know, now with cell phones are even more centered on
Yeah.
ourselves and our interests and our, you know, we don't have to watch TV together as a family anymore.
Yeah.
We can all be watching on our iPads or computers or whatever, and we don't have to be together anymore. Yeah, all of those things are for show some aspect of why we develop and kind of get insulated in these ways. And we just kind of I think it's just as those situations arise, like we have to just be cognizant of that and then like decide to, I don't know, it's hard because like I want to decide to let go a little bit and let myself be free, but at the same time it's like, will you really be free if you're just like if it's a decision, like if it's like a choice? Or does it need to be like, where do you practice it so that it becomes just natural as opposed to like you putting on something?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be quirky now. Like, I'm going to be silly. Like, I'm going to be happy. Like,
right. I think it does come back to like, at least when I think about it for myself, it definitely comes back to like knowing who you are. So for me, like, I know it's good for me to kind of dig into who God says I am and who I am in Jesus.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is the rock where I start at.
Right.
But then just practicing, you know, all those things like I want to practice caring about people more. And when I say that, I mean like actually when someone wants to talk to me, being that person that's like I'll listen.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna put aside all the things in my head that was a list for me to do and like hear what you have to say and like actively care for people and like just listen to them.
Yeah.
And then just like forgiving yourself when you do all these things that you know you don't like about yourself, like not quirkiness things, like, you know, your unhealthy thoughts or like habits that you have and just being like, okay, I did it again, just being aware of that and just practicing like being more whatever it is that you're hoping to go for, you know, so that you're more like your natural self and not these things that you've learned.
Yeah, maybe
as
that's
you grew
it.
up.
Maybe you have to free yourself of these sort of mental traps that you put yourself through over and over again, where you're just like, I did it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Whose lives are really affected by my mistake?
Yeah.
Who except me?
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is that you kind of keep coming back to, mistakes that you make and kind of beating yourself up over it, or just weird mental things where you clam up in certain situations, or you say the wrong thing, or you know, whatever it is, like whose lives are really affected by it, you know, and can I let this go?
Yes.
Now, not dwell on it, you know, because the longer we dwell on it, the more that we're going to think about it the next time it happens. And it's going to be the first thing our mind goes to, and all of that.
There was something that, I'm really going blank today, but Jordan Peterson, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something that like he said, or something like he said that stuck with me, but, and I'm totally paraphrasing, but the gist of what he was saying is like, you have to be honest, like with yourself.
Yeah.
And like just be honest in general with yourself and with other people.
That sounds like him.
the more that you can be genuinely honest, the closer you're getting to being like yourself, like the person that you should be.
Right.
You know?
Don't lie.
Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to other people. Don't put on a show. Like, just strip it all away and you're getting closer.
Yeah.
And I was like, that seems so simple, but it's it's actually really good advice. Like you don't realize how much you're putting on for other people and for yourself, for the person that you think you want to be and the person you think other people want you to be, the things you should say for them. Like you've layered all this crap on yourself that doesn't need to be there and it's not helpful for other people. Just be honest.
Yeah.
And that just stuck with me when I heard him say something like that. I was like, yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. 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 Cool. Well, let's wrap it up here. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Have you seen the crate challenge?
No.
Oh my god.
I haven't been on social media or
No, I'm not like coming down on you for that. We're gonna watch that when we get home.
Oh goodness. Is this gonna waste my time?
Yeah, for sure. For sure it's gonna waste your time. Will it be the best thing you ever saw also? Yeah. Yeah. It'll be the best thing you ever saw. It is so good.
Is this like
so
is
good.
this brand new or is this like been around for a while?
Oh, it's brand new.
Okay.
Brand new. We are on the cutting edge or the cusp of something great or the beginnings of the end or the I don't know what I'm going for there. But like it's awesome. It's awesome. It's called the Hood Olympics. It's part of the Hood Olympics. And it's basically so I'll describe it for you and I'll describe it for anybody that's listening to this. So there is a stack of crates stacked up like a pyramid. Okay. So there's the stack gets taller and taller. It's just one row of milk crates that go up, to the top of the pyramid. And like the goal of the crate challenge is to walk from one side of the stack crates to the other side.
Okay.
Doesn't sound that hard, right?
Yeah.
The problem is crates are not stable. So yeah. Also, the people that are participating in this challenge,
maybe
it's
not
debatable.
Be stable
It's debatable of their stability. They may or may not be on illicit substances.
Oh,
it's
my
debatable.
Goodness.
Yeah, I literally just heard recently that kind of the Central Park in Reading just had like this big crate challenge.
Oh my.
And there was like 100 people there and like it's big. It's really big. It's blowing up all over social media and the internet right now and it is magical.
These are the things that happen after a pandemic.
It is magical. So we're going to watch those videos when we get home. If you want to go watch those videos, look up Crate Challenge or Hood Olympics. Both of those will get you to where you need to go. It is awesome. It will not waste your time. You will come out more joyful. Your joy levels, if you're working on getting your joy levels back, that will help. That will help. So, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening to another episode of Just Breathe with Laud Lungs. Before you go, those of you that are watching, make sure that you like this, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That way you know when we get another video up. Those that are listening, make sure that you subscribe, get the notification bell if there is such a thing on wherever you're listening to this. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Love you all. Goodbye.